Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation. This is our Hood Recovery Services, and I am going to do the spiritual principle of day from the NA.org from NA. And I hope that you're going to enjoy this July 18th spiritual principle day. If you need to reach me, reach out to me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. I would be happy to answer your questions about your steps or anything that you're dealing with related to recovery. I would be happy to respond to any of your concerns. I do want to say that my intention is not to replace your recovery process, your sponsor, your step work. I just want to be used as a resource to further your recovery. So please keep that in mind. And hopefully you're attracted to this process because it is about attraction and not promotion, correct? Okay, so here we are. This is July 18th. And the title of the spiritual principle day, and it's talking about the spiritual principle of vulnerability. Growth takes vulnerability. Page 207. By asking for help, we can change. Sharing is risky at times, but by becoming vulnerable, we are able to grow. Basic text, chapter 9, just for today, living the program. As kids, some of us became completely self-reliant out of necessity because the people in this institutions meant to care for and help us consistently let us down. That skill got us through our using days until it didn't. Others of us definitely sought help when we were using, but it wasn't to assist us in our growth. The help we wanted was for feeding our addiction and often put us in risky situations. We were vulnerable, but not safe. The act of coming to NA is an admission that we need help, but are we thinking of our personal and spiritual development as we drag our butts into our first meeting? For most of us, the answer would be a resounding no. We just want to stop using. A member shared, asking for help was not an option. That meant I was weak, a whiner, a loser. I could be retaliated against, humiliated, rejected, or abandoned because that's what happened when I showed vulnerability out there. Sharing in recovery does pose some risk. Rejection is possible and real. We expose ourselves. We expose ourselves to feeling shame and guilt. And who wants to experience any of that? Sometimes the risk is about accountability. Like if we tell someone that we're contemplating or feeling what we are contemplating or feeling, then we might have to do something about it. However, withholding and going it alone makes us less safe. We become more fearful, our isolation intensifies, and then acting out can seem like a good ideal. As we grow in recovery, the pain we experience from isolating or acting out eventually outweighs the pain of sharing what's going on with us. Our experience of sharing with other members demonstrates that overall, we find acceptance, support, and love. We learn that it takes courage to be vulnerable. Our desire to grow as recovering addicts eclipses our fears of feeling exposed. I will assess what I may be concealing and where I'm afraid of being vulnerable. I may not make the choice to ask for help today, but I know I'm safer if I do. This is talking about levels of vulnerability. And the reason why I'm saying that it's talking about levels of the spiritual principle called vulnerability, because the vulnerability that we experience in the streets is sometimes quite self-induced, but it definitely is oriented around our self-seeking desire to be able to use at as little of a cost as possible. So we were willing to use our body, our time, our money to some extent. But money runs out. The drugs last way past the money, right? So, but we were willing to become vulnerable to get that next high. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the self sufficiency that we had to have to survive because the people around us were failing us. And that's not always the case. Many of us came up in very beautiful home environments, right? So that's not always the case, but we learned how to be self sufficient and self dependent to a degree, honestly. But when you come into Narcotics Anonymous, we find out that that self sufficiency is a lie. No man is an island, and it's a we program, it's not an I program. The Mother Fellowship is an I program that incorporates the fellowship, whereas we do talk about the awesomeness, the similarities. And when you come here, you're going to be able to stay here and enjoy being here if you become vulnerable and start taking risks. And the way to do that is to start sharing in the meetings about who we are and on topic sometimes and how we came to NA. And this begins to open up a dialogue where other members now are able to understand that you belong, you are a member when you say you are, but they begin to trust the fact that you're not there to just get your paper signed. You might be there to get your paper signed, but are you also there for the process of recovery? Do you contribute anything to the table, right? This is important. This is very important. This concept of the spiritual concept of vulnerability is important. And I love how it says that, our desire, to stay involved with our recovery, to grow in recovery, becomes stronger than our concern for being hurt, right? Again, the Just for Today meditation was about the gift of desperation. This is talking about the growth that we are experiencing as a result of allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. It's a choice. You don't have to be vulnerable, but you were vulnerable while you were using. Why not exercise the spiritual principle of vulnerability at a different level? I would love to say like at a higher level because it sounds better than at a lower level, but I believe that being vulnerable requires humility, and humility is not being a doormat, not getting down on the ground and groveling for anyone, no, but it is a process of not having so much pride and ego, being able to say, I need help. You've got to be able to do that. I want that for you today. My name is Mighty Stream, and I am an addict. Again, if you would like to um, involve me in your recovery and be a part of my personal recovery network, reach out to me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.